I'd like to give the word right on to Orla Doyle, who is the leader of the TAV program and is based at the School of Economics of University College Dublin.
Thanks,
Orla.
Anna. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. You're very welcome. And thanks for your interest in the Transnational Access Programme. As Anna said, my name is Orla Doyle. I'm an associate professor in the School of Economics here in University College Dublin. And I am also the coordinator of the Transnational Access Visit Programme as part of this EU Coordinate. So I'm going to talk about some of the logistics and the rationale behind this. So I'm just going to move the, try to move, it'll work. No, it is, no, it is working, sorry, slight delay there. Great, well, the overall aim of the Transnational Access Visit Programme is to provide researchers like you who are working in the area of children and youth wellbeing the opportunity to visit and gain access to data that is available on children and youth wellbeing. So this could be longitudinal data sets, birth cohorts, cross-sectional data. So really, it's an opportunity for you to spend time in another country, in another organization, accessing data. Now, you may be saying, well, why do I need to go somewhere to access data? Today, as you know, most data sets are available virtually. There's lots of different data archives around there in Europe where you just have to go online, submit a short form, and a few minutes later, the data pops up, or maybe a few days later, you get the data. But not all data is available publicly. So this will allow you to access some data that isn't in the public domain. However, even when data is available in the public domain, I know this as someone who uses a lot of data, longitudinal data, it can often be very overwhelming when you get access to a data set, particularly a longitudinal data set where there's multiple different waves and it could be thousands of different variables, and you need to sort it out, right? So I guess the idea behind the transnational access visits is not only will you get access to the data, but you'll get access to people who know that data, who use that data, and in some cases, people who actually created that data. So it's going to make it easier for you to work with that data. And that's the main aim of this program. So you're getting access to data and personnel who are experts in that. So a little bit of detail, this program will fund visits for up to 1 week to 3 weeks in duration. So it's up to you to decide how long you want to come for, minimum of 1 week, maximum of 3 weeks. It's also possible to split your visits, in two sections. So for example, you may decide to go for 1 week initially, get the data, learn about the data, go off for a couple of months, and then come back in a few months' time when you have what the real questions are. So it's possible for you to split and make 2 visits. However, as long as it doesn't exceed the total budget. So the total budget for 3 weeks would be €3,750. Sorry, it's a bit slow on when I try to make a transition. So the maximum amount of money that you will be reimbursed per week is €1,250 per week. This is to cover your travel, accommodation, and subsistence. So just to state, you don't automatically get €1,250 per week. It's based on your receipted expenses. So you have to submit receipts, and then you will be reimbursed for the total amount of your receipts with a maximum of €1,250 per week. The program is open to academics and non-academics. So within academia, it's open from PhD students right the way up to full professors, but it's also available to any kind of researchers, policy practitioners, or analysts who are working, say, in non-governmental organizations, governmental organizations, whose work involves using data related to children and youth well-being. So this is absolutely not just a program for academics. It is a program for anyone who's conducting research using data related to children. We are issuing 2 calls for visits each year. We issued our first one in February, and now we're issuing our second one. The second one just opened there on Monday, the 29th of August, and the call will be open for 1 month, which means you guys need to get your applications in by the 29th of September. So you've got just basically 4 weeks to submit your application. And that will allow you to visit one of the host institutions from between December 2022 this year till December 2023 next year. So you can take your visit basically within a 1 year period after you've been awarded the grant. There are 8 different host institutions that you can apply to visit. You can come to visit us here in UCD. Also, you can go to Manchester Metropolitan University, the Netherlands Interdisciplinary Demographic Institute, the University of Essex, Centerdata in Tilburg, the European Centre in Vienna, INED in Paris, and Ipsos in Berlin. So again, pick wherever you want to go. Here I've listed the data sets that you can access at those sites. So these are the data sets that are currently available in each host institution. And today you're going to be learning more about the Manchester, NIDI, Essex, and Centerdata. Okay, so you're going to learn more about those today. So there are certain eligibility criteria which allows you to apply for the program. Firstly, very basically, your research must be related to children and youth research. Okay, so you just need to be conducting your research in this general area. Completely broad, you can be conducting research related to health, psychology, socio-emotional skills, relationships. It's completely open. It's whatever you're doing, as long as it basically involves children. You must be currently working in an EU country or an associated country in order to avail of this grant, but you cannot visit another host institution within the country you are currently based. So for example, I'm based here in Ireland. I can't go to another university in Ireland. I would have to go to the UK or to Germany or to France, okay? And you also must have a contract or an affiliation with a recognized academic or public institution or a not-for-profit organization or a registered company in an EU member state or an associated country, which covers the duration of that visit. So what that means is, let's say you're finishing your PhD in the next month or two, and you don't know what you're going to do afterwards. You won't necessarily have an affiliation with anyone within 2 months' time. That means you wouldn't be eligible to apply. You have to have a contract in place for the duration of this visit. Now, if you are not based in an EU country or an associated country, you are still eligible to apply. So third countries are eligible to apply, but we are limited in that only 20% of the funding can be provided, or 20% of the total amount of the TAV funding can be provided for applicants from third countries. And the final thing is that, again, this is very slow. Trying my mouse. Yeah, it's kind of stalled. I'll just say the final thing is that you cannot be part of the consortium, the coordinate consortium. So basically, I'm not allowed to apply, or none of the guys here that you'll be talking to today are allowed to apply for the scheme, because obviously there may be conflict of interests. Okay. PhD students are eligible to apply. However, master's and bachelor students are not eligible to apply. Okay, that's all that criteria. Now we go on to the actual application form. The application form, we've made it so that it should be pretty easy for you to apply. So firstly, you just have to provide some details about the title of your project, what host institution you want to visit, what data set you want to access, some basic details about yourself. Then we move on to the scientific and technical objectives of your project. So this is really where you're going to describe the project that you want to do, describe the objectives, context, rationale for your project, describe how it's original, how it's innovative. And again, we've given you some guidelines there around word count that you should adhere to. The third part then is around the quality of the methodology and implementation. So we'd like you to describe, the method that you will be using, your work plan, the schedule, why you have decided to choose that host institution, why you've decided to choose that data set, and also if there's any other alternative host institution that you would like to visit. And again, we've provided word counts for that. The fourth part then, continuing on from the third part, we would like you to list whether you require any special material or equipment while you're visiting, what are the potential risks and contingency that might happen. And finally, we'd like you to describe what outcomes you'd like to achieve from your visit. So whether or not you're just looking for access to the data, or whether or not you'd like to form a collaborative relationship, have a co-author, perhaps with someone who's based in your host institution. The fourth part then is really about you. It's the scientific excellence of the applicant. So we'd like you to provide a short biography, so kind of a short narrative of your CV, as well as listing some recent presentations and publications as well. And finally, if you are a PhD student, we will be asking for the name of your PhD student or PhD supervisor and whether they have consented that you can apply. So then your application will be assessed by a selection panel that is made up of members of the UCD team, as well as representatives in the hosting institution. And we also have external assessors as well. And every application is reviewed by 2 people. So the selection panel will review and score each application, and then we take the average score across both reviewers. And then we will decide whether or not, or based on your score, we will decide whether or not your application will be funded. So either you'll be funded, you won't be funded. We'll suggest an alternative institution for you to visit, or you'll be asked to resubmit it to the next call. And you will be notified of the decision of the selection panel 1 month after you apply. So if you're applying now in September, you will basically find out by the end of October whether or not you've been successful. Some of the criteria with which we judge the quality of the application, I've listed them here. I don't really have time. Don't take up too much more time. So you can read all about the criteria we use in the on the Coordinate website, where we provide all this information, but you can read that in your own time. And just to say, though, it is important to note that priority is given to early career researchers, also researchers from low GDP countries, and countries where there may be a limited experience of using longitudinal data. And finally, gender balance will also be taken into account. So there's a number of things you have to do before, during, and after your visit. Before your visit, you should contact your host institution about making those practical arrangements. During your visit, you should maintain a timesheet of when you're coming in and things like that and what you do. And then after your visit, you'll be asked to submit all your receipts within 30 days or 60 days of your visit to the host institution. You'll be asked to write a short report about your visit. You'll be asked to write a short blog post, which we'll put up on the Coordinate website. And then in about 6 months to a year time, we'll ask you to complete an online survey that's detailing kind of the outputs from your visit. So whether you published a paper, presented it, and so on. So finally, how to apply. You need to check your eligibility as an applicant. You should read the TAV policy document that is available on the Coordinate website. Then you can complete the online application form, of which I've included a link to here. You can refer to the Coordinate website for more information. It basically has information about how to apply. It has the policy document, has all those criteria that I talked about today. And if you do have any questions about this call, please contact the TAV coordinator, who's based here in UCD, Sinead Downey, and I've included her email address there. So good luck with your applications. And I'm going to hand over now, I think, to Manchester.
Thank you so much, Orla. That's right. We are handing the microphone over to Lee Bentley from the Manchester Metropolitan University.
Okay, thank you very much to Orla and Anna. So yeah, I'm Lee Bentley. I'm based at Manchester Metropolitan University, and I'm based in the Policy, Evaluation and Research Unit. I'll skip through my slides now. A little bit about Manchester Metropolitan University. It's a relatively new university. It was established as Manchester Polytechnic in 1970 and was awarded university status in 1992. It's based basically very close to the centre of Manchester. We have excellent transport links in terms of train station, in terms of buses running all through the city. It's based next door to the University of Manchester, so there's a huge student presence. I think the two universities combined is about 70,000 students. Yeah, so we're very close to the centre of Manchester. We're very close to the city. We're very close to lots of exciting and interesting things that are happening. I'm based in the Policy, Evaluation and Research Unit. We are a fairly diverse group of researchers interested in things ranging from criminal justice to education, childhood and youth, as well as housing and homelessness and methods we aren't a traditional academic research institute. We do undertake lots of traditional academic work, such as publishing research in academic peer-reviewed journals. We also do a lot of applied research for clients in the public and voluntary sectors in terms of, say, the impact of public policy and economic evaluations and things of that nature. So yeah. Right then. Yep. We can offer support for a few different data sets. I'm going to skip over these relatively quickly, but I'll provide links at the end so that you can go and look into them at the end. But these can be broken down basically into 2 or 3 kinds of data. We have across the top of the screen, we have the cohort studies. These are the main British cohort studies. And then we've got a couple of other data sets, including the Children's Worlds or International Survey of Children's Wellbeing Data and the IPPR tax benefit model, which is a bit different. So I'll talk about these briefly. The cohort studies, as I say, these are the main cohort studies based in the UK. They're held at the Centre for Longitudinal Studies at UCL in London, but we are supporting their use for the Coordinate project. So the first of these was the National Child Development Study. This began in 1958 and is ongoing. So that's still running. There's been roughly 12 waves of that data. We then have the British Cohort Study, which began in 1970. And we have the Millennium Cohort Study. I'll come back to next steps in a moment. So each of these are birth cohort studies, effectively. So these sample a group of basically babies at birth or very close to birth and follow this group of people throughout the rest of their lives. Okay, and we collect information about their family and about them as they age. Next steps, as I say, was slightly different. This isn't a birth cohort study. This is a cohort study that began at the age of 14 for the respondents. So again, it selected a group of people all at the same age and followed them through initially through the years of late school and eventually into the transition to employment. So that's a really interesting study as well. So the content, very briefly, this is a snapshot. It's certainly not all that's available. These are huge studies going back over multiple decades in some cases, so there's a lot of data available. But they do include lots of information about health, including some well-being. This differs between surveys, about education and schooling, about cognitive development, and about family relationships and the household and housing. They can be linked to administrative data, to small area geographies. If you're interested in doing that, get in touch with me and we'll discuss the feasibility of what you would like to do. And they can also be compared, so you can use them to do an analysis between cohorts because they often feature the same question asked at the same ages in the different surveys. And as I say, next steps allows for the detailed analysis of the later years of school and the transition to employment. Okay. Additionally, as I say, we have 2 other surveys. These are not cohort studies, but we can offer support for Children's Worlds, which is also known as the International Survey of Children's Wellbeing. It's a cross-sectional comparative study. The really nice thing about this study is that it's not Europe focused or Western focused, if you will. It's a global study and includes countries from all over the world. As you can see, wave 1 had 14 countries and about 35,000 respondents. By wave 3, there were 40 countries involved and 128,000 respondents. This differs between the waves, but children are often asked at the ages of 8, 10 and 12 to complete the survey. We also have the IPPR tax benefit model. That's the Institute for Public Policy Research tax benefit model. I'm not going to talk about this too much, but it's a micro simulation and it's used to understand the impact of UK government tax and benefit policy. If you're interested in this data, or this model, get in touch with me and I will put you in touch with the team here at Manchester Metropolitan University that looks after it. Okay, for further information, you can see our website, you can see the CLS website for the cohort studies and the Children's Worlds website. What we would offer you is training and support in using the data that we offer, the chance to present your work. We have expertise in child wellbeing and the analysis of panel data, and where appropriate, we can also arrange a meeting with colleagues based at the Centre for Longitudinal Studies, if that would be beneficial. Okay, and if you need to contact me, these are my details. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee. We'll hand the microphone over now to Vitinis Diamantis, who will present us the Netherlands Interdisciplinary Demographic Institute.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. And it looks like that I have the control of the screen. Oh, here we are. So thanks again for the introduction, Anna. I do happen to wear two hats today. So I work at the Netherlands Interdisciplinary Demographic Institute, but at the same time, I am the Research Infrastructure Manager of the Generations and Gender program. And during today's pitch, I'll try to cover both of those institutions as they not only offer you the data sets, but as well, as mentioned before by Ola, they offer you the know-how how to use that data. So as you may have realized, both NEDI and GGP are located in the Netherlands, but more precisely, it is in the administrative capital of the country, The Hague. NEDI's office is actually conveniently based in one of the old town squares of the city, and just happens to be so close by to the train station. So at the end of the day, this is centrally located in the city and at the same time is centrally located within the Netherlands, making it an attractive place to go and spend some time of your research while not only working on data, but at the same time experiencing the country of the Netherlands. To focus a little bit more on the Netherlands Interdisciplinary Demographic Institute, also called NEDI, it has been around for more than 50 years and it's been the main research point for population-related or demographic studies within the country. And it is one of the most predominant policy hubs when it comes to demography as well in the country. NEDI is home of more than 70 researchers who work in 5 different theme groups, including families, migration, aging, retirement, and the 5th one, connecting to the policies. So whenever individuals come and visit NEDI, they really are encouraged to go and contact researchers who work in the relevant field for the visitor, as the staff is really happy to share their experience or mediate connections with other researchers. So that's one of the bits that add to one's experience when visiting NEDI. To focus a little bit more on the Generations and Gender program and the data that it offers, it's important to start with the fact that Generations and Gender program is the research infrastructure that focuses on social science and even more narrowly on population dynamics and family research. It has been run by the team at NEDI for more than 20 years. And the current team is, as you can see, consists of 10 people who work in different fields, but among the functions that they have to conduct as part of work within the research infrastructure, all individuals have different types of research, and they're happy to share their knowledge and experience with visitors as well. To deep dive within the questionnaire of Generations and Gender survey, also also known as the main deliverable and main data product of the Generations and Gender program. The GGS happens to be a trusted data source on especially transition to adulthood, childcare, and well-being, the topics that the coordinate project covers. To broaden it a little bit, it also offers the cross-national comparability. It is longitudinal by design, has large sample sizes, as each country participating within the GGP has to present at least 10,000 individuals within the sample. It also covers a broad age range that is beneficial whenever it comes to research focusing on transitions, especially transitions to adulthood. And it offers a combination of different types of micro and macro data. And importantly as well, it's theory-driven and multidisciplinary in nature. The data set covers 9 main topics. The ones I mentioned before, of course, well-being and some aspects of life histories, but as well, the Generations and Gender survey offers data on demographics, fertility, household, relations between generations, and as well has information on attitudes, income, and work and life. Even though Generations and Gender program does not only cover Europe, most of the countries currently within the program happen to be in the old continent. As you can see, most of the map of Europe is colored in green. That represents that data sets, longitudinal data sets are available from those countries. In some cases, the longitudinal nature of the data is still being developed, as not all the countries manage to participate in the second or third wave of data collection. However, a huge chunk of those countries do have 2 or even 3 waves of data. To narrow it down a little bit when talking about the GGS, there currently are 2 rounds of GGS data. The first round took place from 2003 till 2012. 20 countries participated within that data collection round, and 5 countries within those 20 countries have 3 waves of data. The second round started in 2017, and currently we have more than 20 countries participating in data collection. But having mentioned the main data output of the Generations and Gender program, I urge people to explore the harmonized histories. That is as well a data set which focuses on the longitudinal nature of data, but capitalizes the benefit of having the life histories within the Generations and Gender program survey, and as well the contextual database that gives quite a few indicators on macro level. I have been mentioning a few benefits of coming to NEDI and Generations and Gender program before, but in addition to that, it's important to recognize that when you come to NEDI, you do work with European researchers who are experts in the field, and you can get access to their know-how and the networks. In addition to that, when you come to GGP, not only the team is welcoming to go through your research and help you out with the work on data, but we always start and conclude visits with presentations on individual work, and we give feedback to the progress of people's work. As well, there have been cases when potential research collaborations emerged during the visits. It's also important to mention that apart from these, let's say, points of value, NEDI is as well an extremely community-oriented work environment, and it not only offers great and inclusive day-to-day life, but as well has professional growth experiences that you can benefit even if visiting NEDI for a short period, which includes brown bag seminars that happen to take place quite often at NEDI, and as well different types of literature and NEDI facilitated trainings that could happen during your visit. Some useful information for people who are going to explore this slides later on, but I'm really looking forward to your applications. In case you do have any questions, please feel free to drop me a line. I'm always available to answer your questions, and as well looking forward to the question session at the end of this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vitenis. We're staying in Netherlands with Marika de Brone, who will introduce Centerdata to us.
Thanks a lot, Anna. And good afternoon. I'm Marika de Brone. I'm senior researcher at Centerdata, and I'll tell you something about what your visit to Centerdata would look like. Well, first of all, where can you find us? We are located in the southern Netherlands, in the city of Tilburg, and we're really nicely centrally located in the Western Europe. We have really good connections also to other cities in the Netherlands and abroad, for example, Amsterdam, The Hague, Brussels, and Düsseldorf. And our offices are located on the campus of Tilburg University, which is a beautiful green campus area. We also have good connections to the lively Tilburg city center by public transport. Now, Centerdata is a non-profit research institute. Our mission is to answer research questions in the area of people and society. And we also want to support and contribute to scientific, social, and policy relevant research. We are a team of about 50 employees from various professional backgrounds. We have experts, for example, in survey research, software development, policy research, data science, experimental research, and so on. And here you can also see some examples of the areas of expertise at Centerdata, from data collection to data infrastructure, data science, policy research, estimates and forecasting models, and machine learning. Now, one of our most important research data infrastructures is the LIS data archive. LIS stands for Longitudinal Internet Studies for the Social Sciences. And the LIS data archive provides you with data that are collected in the LIS panel that was established in 2007 for scientific, social and policy relevant research. The LIS panel is a household panel. That means that we have information, for example, demographics, not only on the respondents, but also on the whole family. And our respondents are aged 16 years and older. And that means that the LIS data are especially well suited for research on youth and young adults. But we also have retrospective data on childhood. We have more than 250 studies available from various disciplines. And what is also good to know is that all this data on different topics, they can be merged together. And that really provides you with unique opportunities for analysis. But now I would like to give the word to our director, Marvel Das, and the LIS coordinator, Joris Mulder, who will tell you more about the archive.
High-quality data are invaluable for excellent research. The LIS Data Archive offers an extensive collection of studies to use for scientific research. The archive includes data collected in the LIS panel, a probability-based online panel in the Netherlands, managed by research institute Centerdata. Every month, panel members fill out online surveys. A key component of the panel is the LIS core study, which covers topics such as health, social values, and economic situation. Researchers are furthermore welcome to conduct their own surveys and experiments in the panel on various topics. Via the LIS Data Archive, all these studies are made available to researchers around the world.
How to access the data? The LIS data are available free of charge for scientific purposes. On the archive's website, you can directly view information about the studies, the questions, and variables. To download the data files, you need to register. This is easy. Just fill out a user statement online. Centerdata will then provide you with a login by email. After logging in, you can either download your selected dataset or create a new basket by combining variables from different studies. All data can be merged together using a unique respondent identifier to answer your specific research question.
Greater impact for your research. At Centerdata, we strive to make the LIS data fair. This stands for findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Each dataset has its own DOI, making it citable and easy to find. Publications based on LIS data are linked to the related datasets. This way, we support the whole data lifecycle and enhance the impact of your research output. The archive has been awarded the Core Trust Seal as a trustworthy data repository. The LIS Data Archive is created by the research community for the research community. Come join other researchers at lisdata.nl.
Now, I hope you enjoyed the video. Here you can still see some examples of different topics of longitudinal data that are available. They vary, for example, from health and well-being, family, social integration, leisure, personality, values, retrospective childhood, time use, social networks, life history, and parenthood. And we also have some data on the effects of the recent corona pandemic. Here I also have a few examples of datasets that are available to you if you come and visit us. For example, we have the Life History Questionnaire, which contains retrospective data on life and family situation during childhood. And for example, data on the working situation and education of parents, cultural activities and reading at home, household chores and leisure, the material situation, also relationships within the family. Another example is a survey among parents of children aged 0 to 12 years about childcare. In this survey, respondents were asked about whether they use different kinds of childcare and whether they are familiar with them, and also what, for example, what their attitudes are towards childcare allowance and if they have any difficulties with them, and also the attitudes towards childcare in general. Another example is a very recent study on transgressive behavior in sport in the Netherlands. The study is about experiences of psychological, physical, or sexual transgressive behavior while playing sports during childhood. And this was a cooperation between the LIS panel and ENO research panel in the Netherlands. And this dataset has a total of 4,000 respondents who answered questions on these topics and who played sports in an organized context during their childhood. And we also have more data on retrospective childhood, and they are often embedded in larger surveys. For example, the Tilburg Consumer Outlook Monitor, or a survey called Motives for Greed and Self-Interest. And there's also a complete survey that was conducted among immigrants on childhood via the immigrant panel, which is part of the LIF's infrastructure. And finally, we have longitudinal data on the effects of the corona crisis, for example, on infections, mental, physical health, but also perceptions and expectations of people during the crisis about their life situation and social contacts, etc. And this survey was asked at all LIS panel members aged 16 years and older. And also here it's good to remember that these data can also be merged with other data for more extended analysis. You can think about, for example, well-being or other health data or social activities and social network. If you have any questions about these studies or about other data in the LIST Data Archive, or you're trying to find something, please let us know. We're really happy to tell you more about it, and you can contact us by email. You can also either mail me directly or one of my colleagues at info@listdata.nl. And what would your visit then to Centerdata look like? Well, we're located at modern offices with a casual and friendly atmosphere. And if you come and visit us, we'll organize an introduction program on the LIST data and also give you some insights into the data archive and how to use it. And based on your needs, we'll also provide custom support on handling the data and analysis techniques. And of course, we'll also connect you with Centerdata colleagues based on expertise. So I really hope that you will apply to visit us. We're looking forward to getting to know you and to answer your questions and really to help you conduct excellent research. Thank you very much. And I'll give the word back to you, Anna.
Thank you very much, Marika, for this presentation. And last but not least, we have Kara Booker, who will tell us a little bit more about the Institute for Social and Economic Research at University of Essex and their data sets.
Thank you, Anna. So as Anna said, my name is Kara Booker. I'm a research fellow at ICER, which is based at the University of Essex. So the University of Essex is located in Colchester. This is our beautiful castle in the middle of our city. And we were established in 1964. We're one of the top 30 UKs, according to the Complete University Guide. We did really well on the Research Excellence Framework, which ranks universities according to different disciplines, both in 2014 and the newest one in 2020. We have 3 campuses. ICER is located on the Colchester campus, which is the campus that's in the picture. And we also have 2 other campuses, one near the coast and one closer to London. At ICER, we have 3 major centers. So we have the Center for Micro-Social Change, MISOC. We have the Center for Microsimulation and Policy Analysis. And then we have Euromod, which is similar to, which is kind of the center that SEMPA came out of. It's the European Micro-Analysis Tax Benefit Model. ICER was established in 1989, and we were established to house the British Household Panel Survey. We are an internationally renowned institute, and we have basically 3 main areas that we are known for. One is social, survey methodology and production, strong economic, social, and health research, so social sciences research, and also microsimulation, so tax benefit modeling. We have over 80 staff and 27 PhD students, and they cover, as I said, a wide range of disciplines, and these are just a few mentioned here. We have 2 main large data sets that we have run or are currently running. So as I said, in 1989, we were established to run the British Household Panel Survey, and that survey ran from 1991 to 2008. Starting in 2009, we basically took the bones of the British Household Panel Survey and extended it, and we started Understanding Society. And Understanding Society has been running since 2009 through today. We are still collecting data, and part of the Understanding Society sample includes members from the British Household Panel Survey. So in some cases, we have data for those people over 30 years now. Again, as I said, the BHPS was ran from 91 to 2009. We have information of adults 16 and over who were interviewed annually, as well as the young person survey that started in wave 4. So we have information on young people aged 11 to 15, also interviewed annually. And we have over 5,000 observations from young people over the 14 waves. As I said, Understanding Society is a successor to BHPS. So we began collecting data annually from around 60,000 individuals. We have 11 waves of data currently available through the UK data service. It should be 12 waves, I believe, I think we deposit data every November. So in November, it'll be 12 waves. We have 4 samples. So we have the general population sample. We have an ethnic minority boost sample. As I said, the BHPS sample is also included starting from wave 2. And then we have a separate innovation panel sample, which is where we do a lot of our methodology experiments. And as far as the youth panel here, we have youth were included from wave 1. So anyone 10 to 15 living in any of the households that we collect data from, we asked to complete a survey. And at wave 10, we had almost 14,000 young people who had participated in any one wave of Understanding Society. We have extensive information on child data. So we have data on child care. We ask parents about child development for any child at age 3, 5, and 8. We have parenting styles for children who are age 10. We have parent and child relationships for children age 0 to 15. And we also ask child maintenance data. And some of this data, such as the child development data, the parenting styles data, has now been collated into one data set called the PEACH data set. So it's the pregnancy and early childhood data set that we offer now that you can also have access to if you were to come here. Here are some of the topics that we ask our young people. So these are 10 to 15-year-olds. Some 16 to 21-year-olds are also asked some of these questions. So they're asked things about bullying, about identity, health and well-being, leisure time, etc. Understanding Society is linked to several administrative data. So we're linked to the national pupil databases in England and Wales, and this gives information about educational data, test scores, those kinds of things. We have early year census in England, individual learner records. We have the Northern Ireland and the Scottish education data links as well as the higher education links from HESA. If you want any further information on Understanding Society, here's the website. We have a long-term content plan, and this gives you all of the different themes of data that has been collected from the beginning, from wave 1, and also will extend, I believe it's now out to wave 15. So you have an understanding of what will be collected. And to access the data, you can freely access it again through the UK data service under different types of licenses, depending on what kind of data you would like to access. So if you were to come to ICER or to Essex, we have training and support for Understanding Society. So we run in-house training courses every March, May, and November. This year, you can find out more information about when those will be held on the Understanding Society website. Some of these will be in person this year, but I think 2 of them will be online. So you can take these courses online. We have many collaboration opportunities. Our researchers are really eager to collaborate with others outside of Essex and ICER. You can present and attend our departmental seminars and our research group meetings. And depending on the time of year you come, we have the Essex annual summer schools in which you can attend if you have funding for that. So these are the social science data analysis summer school and the analytics data science and decision-making summer school. There is a website, a summer school website that will give you the dates of those. Usually they're in end of July, early August. Also next year, 2023, we will have the Understanding Society annual conference that is held here at Essex. And you would also be welcome to join us for that and to present there. And again, here's our contact information, and we really hope to see you here in Colchester and at Essex. Thank you.
For more information, visit www.coordinate-network.eu.